This is the ultimate camera showdown of OnePlus 11 versus iPhone 15 Pro Max. Hasselblad versus the newest iPhone. Who will win? Let's find out.
Feels like he's tripping lately. Spaced out for sure.
Let's start with color profile and saturation, and today we are treated to a really fine fall season with lots of colored leaves and yellow grass. The best season to do a camera comparison video. OnePlus 11 with its AI enabled, I should say, is more vibrant than iPhone 15 Pro Max. While I still love the contrast of the iPhone, since it gives depth to the image with those shadows, sometimes OnePlus 11 looks a little bit washed out. You can see that color yellow and red are a bit overly emphasized on OnePlus 11, which I think is a good thing for fall photography, to be honest, and just the overall feel. It is lively but less realistic. Looking quickly at the camera specification, the color science was tuned by Hasselblad. The main sensor has 50 megapixel 1/1.56 inch size and has multi-directional face detection, autofocus, and OIS. In addition to its 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera and that beefy 32 megapixel telephoto. Sadly, it's only 2 times optical zoom. Hopefully, OnePlus can give us 5 times or even 10 times next time to compete with the Pros and Ultras. While iPhone 15 Pro Max has a natural looking tone to its image, I would say a bit saturated than last year's iPhone 14 Pro Max, but still not as vivid as the Android counterpart. This gives you room for adjustment in post if you like, but to remind you that not all people love to see natural looking photos, there's a certain niche for it, but not all. The more expensive iPhone that costs almost twice as OnePlus 11, given all the discount OnePlus gave us over the past few months, will give you a 48 megapixel main sensor with dual pixel autofocus and sensor shift OIS, and another 12 megapixel for both ultra-wide and telephoto, while the zoom can go as far as 5 times, which is more useful than OnePlus 11's 2 times. Still, looking at the colors of the images, you will also notice that the photos coming from OnePlus 11 is better exposed than iPhone 15 Pro Max, which we will take a deep dive later, and the white balance is a bit warmer than the iPhone, considering I feel that iPhones produce one of the warmest photos on a smartphone. And looking at all 3 sensors from ultra-wide, wide, and telephoto, OnePlus 11 has the same consistent colors, while iPhone 15 Pro Max telephoto has less bluish sky looking at this image.
Alright, as you all know from my previous videos, we're now in fall season in Canada. So you will see a lot of these types of camera comparison video without the blue sky. But as always, we will make the most out of this video and we will test OnePlus 11 and iPhone 15 Pro Max. This is the cinematic mode on iPhone 15 Pro Max in 4K 30 FPS. Sadly, there's no feature of this on OnePlus 11. But OnePlus 11 has 8K 24 FPS, I think the biggest resolution on a smartphone today, and iPhone 15 Pro Max doesn't have this feature.
This is the slow motion test, and OnePlus 11 can go up to 240 FPS on 1080p. And this is the super slow motion, and both of them are 720p, but OnePlus 11 can go up to a whopping 480 FPS. Checking who manages the flaring better, I think one of the upgrades of iPhone 15 Pro Max this year is some sort of lens coating that would eliminate flaring on the sun rays. So checking the ultra-wide, wide, and telephoto, iPhone 15 Pro Max manage it better. But going for the night shot, it's pretty weird that iPhone 15 Pro Max still has this strong flaring even comparing with OnePlus 11. So this is a tie for me. Talking about exposure, this is OnePlus 11 shines because of its AI that stitches multiple images into one that gives a well-balanced final image, so any shots against the light, OnePlus 11 will deliver better. Both phones has macro capability and you can switch this feature in automatic on settings on both phones. You will see that iPhone 15 Pro Max has wider focus area because it uses the ultra-wide lens for this mode. Sharpness is also where the new sensors of iPhone 15 Pro Max shines. Just looking at the ultra-wide, if we zoom in, you will see that iPhone 15 Pro Max is as sharp as OnePlus 11. But obliterating OnePlus 11 on the wide and telephoto zoom, since OnePlus 11 only has 2 times optical zoom, if you crop in at 5 times, you will see that there's more information on iPhone 15 Pro Max. And if you're cropping into the farthest reach of both phones, OnePlus 11 can reach up to 20 times and iPhone 15 Pro Max can go up to 25 times. And still, iPhone 15 Pro Max is sharper than OnePlus 11. And lastly on this category is details. The JPEG that's coming out of iPhone 15 Pro Max has so much details compared to OnePlus 11. It also outputs 24 megapixel JPEG. So if you crop in, you're not losing as much of information as a 12 megapixel JPEG. Now let's talk about the video stabilization of both phones, starting with the super steady or action mode feature, and then the rear cameras, and then the selfie. Starting with the Ultra Steady Pro of OnePlus 11 versus action mode of iPhone 15 Pro Max, 1080p versus 2.8K. This is the ultra-wide in 4K 30 FPS. I mean, both phones are really good in terms of stabilization. The only difference is colors and white balance. Same settings on the main sensor, 4K 30 FPS, and you will see that OnePlus 11 is a little bit shaky compared to iPhone 15 Pro Max. But going to the optical zoom, 2 times versus 5 times of iPhone 15 Pro Max, OnePlus 11 has better stabilization compared to the more punched-in 5 times zoom. And lastly, the selfie stabilization. OnePlus 11 can only shoot 1080p and a little bit wobbly compared to the 4K and very good stabilization of iPhone 15 Pro Max. This is the ultimate camera comparison video of OnePlus 11 versus iPhone 15 Pro Max. Quickly checking both phones, they are both released this year. OnePlus 11 at the start of this year and iPhone 15 Pro Max just a few weeks later. Bang for your buck, I think OnePlus 11 is a really good choice because it has Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, similar to the more costly Android competitors like S23 Ultra. It has a smaller design than iPhone 15 Pro Max and tons of premium features including the stereo speakers, AMOLED screen, and excellent battery life. While iPhone 15 Pro Max is the newest and the latest iPhone that certainly takes the center stage in terms of camera performance, you have the newer sensors, gimbal-like stabilization, and adding that A17 Bionic Pro processor and the new USBC port. Obviously, iPhone 15 Pro Max is more expensive than OnePlus 11, so is the difference worth it? Next is portrait mode, and both of these phones are exceptional in terms of portrait mode with different strengths and implementation. And I guess the strength is coming from two different needs depending on what the consumer prefers. I would say most of the time iPhone 15 Pro Max will nail the perfect portrait mode, but it's too close that if you purchase OnePlus 11, you would also love the portrait mode. It is as good as the iPhone counterpart. OnePlus 11 actually nailed on the subject separation in all of the photos I took. It didn't miss any subject separation. And if you zoom in on any of the photos, you will see that around my ears, OnePlus 11 actually captures cutout better than iPhone 15 Pro Max. And sometimes even the shoulders or arms, you will see that the cutout on OnePlus 11 is better than those fading effect on iPhone 15 Pro Max. And if you also notice, because of its AI, OnePlus 11 actually gives a little bit of filter on your face. So all of the shots taken on OnePlus 11 is actually cuter than iPhone 15 Pro Max. Well, if you are a naturalist who wants a photo that looks similar to real life, iPhone 15 Pro Max provides that kind of image. It is also slightly warmer than OnePlus 11. Also, if you're planning to zoom in, you would love the details on the face. It also gives you 3 focal lengths from the ultra-wide wide and 5 times optical zoom. Going for the selfie shots, you would see that there's more room on OnePlus 11. It has a wider field of view compared to iPhone 15 Pro Max, and I like the white balance on OnePlus 11. It is still warm, but not overly yellowish like iPhone 15 Pro Max. I think for me, it's too much. Going for night shots or night photography, you would love these two phones, but I have a clear winner based from the samples I've taken. OnePlus 11 will battle iPhone 15 Pro Max if you're just posting the image online, because normally on Facebook, Instagram, or other social media, it will still compress the files and you wouldn't probably notice the difference. The colors on OnePlus 11 is more vivid than iPhone 15 Pro Max, and the exposure is better, but the advantages stop there. If you zoom in on any of the night shot photos, you will see that there's more details and sharpness on iPhone 15 Pro Max, and also the noise is better compared to OnePlus 11, which I think for most people, they would prefer that over the noisier image. And both of these phones can shoot night shots on all 3 sensors, but on the telephoto zoom, again, the white balance on iPhone 15 Pro Max is a little off compared to the 2 other sensors. And lastly, low light video, and I believe that iPhone 15 Pro Max trumps OnePlus 11 on this. OnePlus 11 is noisier, has jello effect, and the colors is a bit off compared to the iPhone counterpart. So this is the ultimate camera shootout of OnePlus 11 versus iPhone 15 Pro Max. OnePlus 11 is bang for your buck. It has 8K video recording. Colors are really great because of the AI feature. You will get slower and higher frame rate slow motion video. And if you like those edited and filtered portraits, then OnePlus 11 is the way to go. But if you need the cinematic mode on video recording, also the bigger resolution on the action mode feature, get some really good stabilization on all the rear cameras, have better detailed portrait mode and better night shots, I think with everything considered, iPhone 15 Pro Max is superior. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this video. I'll continue to compare these two phones in our channel, so stay tuned. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.